we have some student questions. Which is very nice. I'll maybe make those a little bigger. Because we're using the whole screen, we don't have two things on the screen today, so we can look at some different things. So these were questions that have come up over the last couple of weeks. If you have a question, you can send it to soundsgreatenglish at gmail.com. And I will answer your question if I can. First one was the word vet. And this comes up in the news sometimes because I think everyone knows a vet. Veterinarian, right? That is an animal doctor. So I think everyone kind of knows that one. You learned that one very early. People like to know the difference between a doctor and a vet when they're kids, because kids care about animals and animal doctors and stuff. Is very exciting. So a vet, I think we all know it's just short for vet. Animal doctor. Now there is also a word. It's a verb to vet. And this is to check someone's background. What this means is before you get a job, the company will check to see if you're a criminal. They will check to see if you've done a bad thing. Most of the time we use it, it's in politics. So the man was vetted by the committee. Oh, two T's, two E's. Oops. The man was vetted by the committee to make sure he hadn't. I'm trying to just think of a good example. Hadn't committed a crime. Yeah, let me get my spaces right. Okay. The committee checked the man's background to make sure he hadn't committed a crime. So they went to the police and said, do you have a record of this man committing a crime? They had people check into his background. Usually for politics, they're looking for any bad thing you've done, because when you start to do a debate, when they start to argue, the other side will say, oh, you said this, you said this, you did this. And you want to make sure that you have a way to answer all those things. So to vet means to check. If I was going to go into the government, I'll just stop there. Next, we'll go to cheap. This is maybe a word you've heard before. Cheap. Now, there are actually 3 ways we can use this word. First one, I think actually the most common, is actually low quality. So I bought a really cheap car and it broke in 2 months. I bought a really low quality car and it broke in 2 months. So this car, this is really important. Cheap in this case is bad. So I bought a car, the car was not good. I paid a little bit of money for it, so I got a car that maybe I should have spent more money on the car, and it broke very quickly. You've probably bought something cheap and it broke, or it didn't work, or what you weren't happy with it. That's very common. We also have cheap, low cost. Now, low cost and low quality aren't always the same. That's kind of the first problem. So if it's cheap, low quality, it wasn't a good thing to buy. If it's cheap, low cost, that means it has good value for low money. So it's a good thing to buy. So now we have almost the opposite. It's cheap, it's bad. It was cheap, it was good. I found I was about to say a Rolex. I don't think Rolexes go on sale. What's something we buy a lot? I found cell phone on sale. It was super cheap. I found a cell phone on sale. It cost much less. Cost a lot less. Cost much less. So what I want to say is the cost was down, but the value is high. It cost much less. No. The price was very low for the quality of the phone. So in these two sentences, I bought a really cheap car and it broke. That's bad. I bought a really cheap phone, but because it was a low price for a good phone, that's good. So that's one of the things that maybe is confusing about cheap is how you use it can be both good or bad. If I just say my phone is really cheap and I don't give you any more information, even in English, they might not understand, is it a bad phone or a good phone? I got this phone, it's really cheap. That sounds like it's not a good phone, but I got this phone, it's really cheap. That sounds good. So just the way my voice sounds is telling you if it was a good or a bad thing. So the word itself, that actually doesn't help you. There's also one more. Cheap is someone who doesn't like to spend money. I always do that. I always hit the 7 instead of apostrophe. Let's get some space there. Okay, so my friend Dave is very cheap. My friend Dave tries to not spend money. So that's basically it. If we go out for dinner, Dave tries to make me spend more money than he spends. If we go out to a group dinner and, okay, everyone give 5,000 yen, Dave will go, oh, I only had one drink, so I should spend less. I only had salad. I didn't eat everything, so I should give you 2,000 yen, not 5,000 yen. That kind of thing. Always trying to not spend money or not give money. You want to go someplace. Dave, because he is very cheap, he will only buy things on sale. He will often buy low quality things because he doesn't want to spend any money. He wants to keep all his money. So we can have it three ways. This one, cheap, low quality, that actually is bad. Cheap on sale or just a low price, that's really good. And then talking about a person is cheap. They don't like to spend money. Okay. This was an interesting question. What does face off mean? That was a question from the students I got. And this was very hard to explain at first because the two teams will face off in the final game. We had a couple. We had face off, start off. There was one more. Now I don't remember it. Oops. I should have written it down. What does face off mean? The two teams will face off in the final game. the two teams will play against each other in the final game. That's all it really means, is they will compete or they will play against each other in the final game or whatever. I like fighting sports. When you see the poster or you see they check their weight, they will have the two men come in and they will face each other and they will stare at each other. That's called a stare down or a stare off. They are facing off. So they're trying to scare the other person so to help them win the game in the future. But face off really kind of means battle or fight, or in this case, because we're talking about sports, play against each other. You could also do companies. Companies face off. Coke and Pepsi are facing off in Coke and Pepsi face off in the holiday season. So in this idea, Coke and Pepsi are competing for sales in the holiday season. So maybe they're putting on a special thing, or they put out a special drink, or they do something trying to get you to come to buy their product, not the other product. So like the two teams are playing against each other, they want to win. In this case, Coke and Pepsi, they're fighting against each other to try to win to get your sales. Okay. Whoa. Sorry, my second screen. Too much stuff on it. Okay. Go to the next one. Now, this was a very interesting question because this is Japanese English. How do you say black company in English? Now, this is a problem because when they say black company, they use English words. But in English, there is no phrase for black company. In English, you can't say black company. No one will understand what you mean. So it's just not English. This is... No, actually, let's do it this way. Black company is Japanese English. So there is no English for black company. In English, you would have to explain the situation. So let's do that. I need a company name that I can use when I make these videos for the bad company or the bad boss or something. I don't want to use a real company. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. I just want to say bad company, but that's not good either. I heard. Whoa. I heard. Okay. I'm going to start again. My son just did a job interview at 777 company. Okay, that is my bad company name from now on. 777 company. When English textbooks get written and stuff, if they want an example, they can't use real examples. So I realized I have to come up with company names and like fast food names. Like I really shouldn't say Coke and Pepsi. Maybe Coke and Pepsi get angry at me and they don't like me talking about their products. So one person says, we'll just do person one. That's not very good. A. Yep. My son just did a job interview at 777 company. And then B says, oh, I heard they are a black company. Is it okay? Oh, no, we don't, because we're going to do a dialogue. So this is going to be A again. Really? I will get my son to vet the company a little more. Oh, there you go. We can use one of our words from today. So I will get my son to check the background of the company a little more before he accepts a job from them. So this is a conversation between two people. My son just did a job interview at 777 Company. Oh, I heard that they're a black company. Is it okay? Really, I will get my son to vet the company a little more before he accepts a job from them. Good. But we have to redo this sentence again. Oh, I heard they are a company that abuses their employees. They make them do unpaid overtime. They make them work long hours. They don't pay them properly. They try to cheat their own employees. So this is what you would have to do in English. You can't just say they're a black company. It's a phrase. The phrase has a lot of ideas in it. In English, you would have to explain what makes them a black company. So this is the kind of thing. You wouldn't say all these things at the same time. You would say something like this. I heard they're a company that abuses their employee. That's probably fine. Because when we say abuses their employees, I understand they're doing bad things. So these are some examples. They make them do unpaid overtime. So this is, you do overtime and they don't give you money. Work long hours, no breaks. They don't pay them properly. So I'm supposed to get paid every month. This month is a little late. Oh, just wait a little bit. Oh, my salary's too low. You didn't pay me everything you should pay me. They try to cheat their own employees. So that's a Japanese expression, black company. We'll do one more. I actually have some more Japanese phrases. I'll do one or two more because 15 minutes isn't enough. Risutora. Okay, so we'll do a few more words. Abaito is not English. That is actually, I think, it comes from German. Arubaito is part-time job. So this is the same woman is talking about her son getting his job, so I'm going to keep doing that. My son got an arubaito at... I need another company now, because if 777 Company is the bad company, I also need a good company. Again, I don't want to use a real name. I should have thought about this before. This is the kind of thing that you don't think about until you start doing it. I should have come up with company names, character names. I will do that next time. For next time, I will make sure I have character names and company names. So 777 is going to be my bad company. Let's do 888 at 888 Company. I'm not very happy with this name, but we'll do it. Arubaito is not English. And again, I think it actually comes from German. My son got a part-time job at 888 Company. Oh, great. I hear that's a much better company than 777 Company. Hochikisu is a stapler. Again, I think when we made this list with my coworkers, Hochikisu is actually the name of the company, not the product. So this happens sometimes when the company gets connected to the thing, and then we actually say the thing as a noun or a verb or something like that. So hochikisu is a stapler. Can you pass me the hochikisu? No. Can you pass me the stapler? So very simple. Those are just two words. You have to swap the words. This one actually, two. So it's risutora is restructure. Or downsizing. So that's important to know that there's more than one meaning for the way this word gets used. The company needed to be more efficient. And resutora the department. The company needed to be more efficient, so they restructured the department. So this would mean maybe they had too many people doing one job and not enough people doing another job, so they took some people and moved them over. They're moving people around. Now that's restructure, just means to change what you have. So if I restructure my room, I would put my bed in another place, I would move my desk. That's not really the same. Restructuring a company means people change section, department, they are doing a different job that is trying to use the people you have better. But then we also have downsizing. Downsizing is when you make something smaller. So you can think down and size. This is how big it is. If I downsize, it's now down here. Company had many losses last year and had to downsize by laying off 100 people. So downsize would be I have 1,000 employees and I'm spending too much money, so I have to shrink my company, downsize to make it smaller. And so I have to fire 100 people. Had many losses last year and had to fire 100 people to save money. That is another way to use that word. I just realized I did it wrong because I should be using risutora. And I actually started explaining the word downsize, but that's actually still good because downsize is a hard word. Restructure would be to move around. Downsize would be to make smaller. So the company had many losses last year and had to risutora by laying off 100 people. So that's where you would use it. You use it in this spot. Downsize is still a hard word. So I think this is still helpful. The company had many losses last year and had to fire 100 people to save money. That is how they use downsize. Okay, so those are some questions. Again, if you have questions, you can send them to soundsgreatenglish@gmail.com. I will post a link to the folder, a Google Doc folder with this document in it. So you can download it. You can look at it as you watch the video, or you can just listen. And next week, we will go back to doing more Eiken study.